Here's the straight, no nonsense breakdown of how Colorado County Code enforcement typically proceeds against a property owner in the scenario you described. Details vary slightly by county city, but the structure is consistent statewide. Complaint intake and initial inspection. Code enforcement receives a complaint, scam allegations, illegal occupancy, RV overstay, junk vehicles, illegal garage conversion. Officer inspects the property. Ownership is irrelevant at this stage. Enforcement targets the property, and legally that means the owner. Key point: even if the violations are caused by an alleged tenant, the owner is responsible under Colorado Code enforcement law. 2. Citation Notice of Violation. Violations are identified and documented. A notice of violation is issued. Posting the notice on the front door is valid service under most local codes if personal service isn't completed. The NOV lists specific code sections violated, required corrective actions, compliance deadline, potential penalties. Common violations here: illegal occupancy of accessory structure, garage, zoning violation, RV used as residence or overstay, inoperable junk vehicles, unpermitted structural or electrical alterations. Compliance period. The owner is given a fixed time window to cure violations, often 10 to 30 days. The county does not care about tenant disputes, scams, or civil issues. Owner must remove RV, remove or register operable vehicles, cease illegal occupancy, restore garage to permitted use or obtain permits, often impossible retroactively, evict occupants if necessary. Blunt truth: if eviction is required, that's the owner's problem. Code enforcement will not wait for landlord-tenant litigation to finish. Cheber 4. Follow-up inspection. Officer returns on or after the deadline. Owner attendance is common but not required. Officer documents compliance or noncompliance. Outcomes: complied, case closed. Partial compliance, extensions may be granted but not guaranteed. Noncompliance, escalation. 5. Enforcement escalation against the owner. If violations remain, the county proceeds against the owner, not the tenant. Possible actions. A. Civil citation summons. Owner is issued a summons to county court. Each violation may carry daily accruing fines. Fines often range from $100 to $1,000 per day per violation, depending on jurisdiction. B. Administrative hearing. Some counties use administrative judges. Officer presents evidence, photos, reports. Owner must prove compliance or mitigation. C. Abatement orders. County may order the owner to remove vehicles, RVs, or structures. If the owner fails, county can enter the property, perform cleanup or demolition, bill the owner, place a lien on the property. 6. Criminal exposure. Rare but real. Continued refusal can escalate to misdemeanor charges under local code. This is uncommon, but absolutely used for chronic offenders. Tenant claims do not stop enforcement. Important legal reality in Colorado: allegations that the tenant is scamming, claims of fraud, claims of illegal subletting, pending eviction cases. None of these suspend code enforcement. The county's position is simple. Open quote: you own the property, you fix it. 8. Practical consequences for the owner: forced eviction timelines, court appearances, fines stacking daily, property liens, loss of ability to rent in the future, insurance and financing issues if violations are recorded. Shatter bottom line: Colorado code enforcement operates on strict liability for property owners. Once notice is properly served and a follow-up confirms noncompliance, the county moves directly against the owner, regardless of tenant misconduct. If you want, I can walk through defenses or mitigation strategies, explain how owners shift costs or liability back to tenants, outline what not to say to code enforcement. People screw this up. Here's the blunt answer. In Colorado, an alleged tenant sleeping in an office or storage room on a commercial property has essentially no residential tenant rights. What rights they have are thin, conditional, and easy to lose. I'll break it down cleanly. 1. Threshold question: is this even a tenancy? Colorado tenant rights under the Warranty of Habitability, CRS 3812-503, and most landlord-tenant protections apply only to residential dwelling units. An office or storage room on commercially zoned property is not a dwelling unit unless it is legally permitted for residential use and it meets residential building, fire, and zoning codes. Sleeping there does not magically create tenant rights. Illegal occupancy, legal tenancy. Banner 2. Commercial property plus sleeping equals unauthorized use. If a person is sleeping in an office, a storage room, or any non-residential space, then legally they are an unauthorized occupant, or at best, a licensee, not a tenant. This matters because licensees can be removed with notice to quit, not eviction. No right to habitability, repairs, or quiet enjoyment. No protection against constructive eviction. Number 3, no warranty of habitability. Because the space is not a lawful residence, the alleged tenant cannot invoke habitability laws. They cannot claim unsafe conditions as leverage. They cannot withhold rent or demand repairs. Courts will not enforce residential standards on an illegal living space. Number 4, eviction protections usually do not apply. Colorado's eviction statutes, forcible entry and detainer, protect lawful residential tenants or commercial tenants under a lease. An alleged tenant sleeping illegally may be removed as a trespasser or licensee, often with 3-day or even immediate notice, depending on facts. If there is no written lease, no permitted residential use, no rent clearly designated as residential rent, then the person is not entitled to standard eviction timelines. Anti-retaliation and anti-discrimination laws don't help them. Anti-retaliation statutes protect lawful tenants who report code violations. Here's the problem for the alleged tenant. Reporting illegal occupancy does not create tenant status. A court will not reward someone for living somewhere illegally. If they complain to code enforcement, it usually hurts the owner, not help the occupant. It does not give the occupant a right to stay. 6. Self-help removal. Careful but possible. Colorado generally disfavors self-help evictions for tenants. For unauthorized occupants, changing locks may be lawful if no tenancy exists. Cutting utilities may be lawful if utilities were never legally provided for residential use. That said, police involvement is often smart. Document everything. Ambiguity equals risk. If the occupant can convince a cop they're a tenant, things slow down. Number 7, criminal exposure for the occupant. The occupant may be violating zoning laws, fire code, health code, possibly trespass statutes, especially on commercial property. Courts do not grant tenant protections to someone whose tenancy is itself illegal. Number 8, what courts actually look at. Judges focus on zoning classification, certificate of occupancy, permits, lease language, if any, whether the space is designed or approved for habitation. Sleeping in a storage room fails all of these. Bottom line, no sugarcoating. An alleged tenant sleeping in an office or storage room on a commercial property in Colorado is not a residential tenant, has no habitability rights, has no right to remain, cannot force an eviction process designed for housing, cannot legalize illegal occupancy by staying long enough. They are removable, not protected. If you want, I can explain how occupants try to fake tenant status and how courts shut it down. Lay out the safest removal process step by step. Cover how code enforcement and police intersect here. Compare licensee versus tenant versus trespasser in Colorado case law. Say the word.